Hi guys, in today's lesson, I'll be teaching us alkaline and acidity. So I want you guys to stay to the end of this lesson. If you are new here watching my video for the very first time, I want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also follow my Facebook page at Brainwave Online Chemistry Tutorial. In one of my previous videos, I also talked about acid and basicity. If you have not watched that video, I want you guys to watch my previous video on acid and basicity so that you can get the full gist on acid and basicity. So let's get started with alkalines. Now alkalines, they are soluble oxide or hydroxide. When we say they are soluble oxide or hydroxide, it means they can dissolve in solution such as water. So moving on from here, I'll be telling us types of alkalines that we have, just like the acid. Acid also have types. So I'll be giving us types of alkalines also. But please take note of this, that we'll be dealing more on this ion. During the course of explanation of these alkalines, we'll be dealing more of this ion, and the name of this ion is hydroxide ion. So the name of this ion is what? Hydroxide ion. Please take note that during the course of explaining this alkaline, we will be dealing more on what? This hydroxide ion. And earlier on, I said that alkalis rather, there was soluble oxide or hydroxide. Now from here, we'll be moving straight to what types of alkalines. We have two types of alkalines. We have what? The strong alkaline. So we have what? Strong alkaline and weak alkaline. So these are the two types of alkali that we have. We have what? The strong alkalis and the what? And the weak alkalins. Now strong alkalis, they dissolve completely in solution, or we can rather say they ionize completely in solution to give what? To produce the hydroxide ion alongside with the metallic ion. So earlier on, I said that what? The strong alkali, they dissolve completely or ionize completely to produce what? The hydroxide ion alongside with the metallic ion. Don't worry, I'll be using what equation to explain this for us to understand better. But before I explain that, let me give us some of the examples of strong alkalis, because not all alkalis are strong alkalis. So from here, some of the examples of strong alkalis include, we have sodium hydroxide. We have what? Sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide. We also have potassium hydroxide. Potassium hydroxide. So this is some of the examples of what? Strong alkali. So strong alkali. So these are some of the examples of what? Strong alkali. Potassium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide. Now let me show us the breakdown. Now let me use this sodium hydroxide as an example. So sodium hydroxide. Now if you break it down, you're going to get metallic ion, which Na plus OH minus, which is the sodium, which is the what? Hydroxide ion. Now if you look at it very well, let's assume that this is the solution. Now when I was explaining strong alkaline just now, I said that strong alkali, they completely dissolve in solution to produce what? The hydroxide ion alongside with the what? Metallic ion. Now let's assume that this is the solution. And then now this sodium hydroxide is being broken down, that is, it's being ionized in solution. Now when it's I'm taking this for example as what? The solution. Now this is the what? Hydroxide. This is what? Sodium hydroxide, for example. Now it's being ionized in solution. Now when it's being ionized, what are the products that will be formed? Now, or what are the ions rather that will be formed? The metallic ion, which is the sodium ion, will be formed alongside with what? The hydroxide ion. But our major focus here is what? The hydroxide ion. I don't know if you can understand me right now. Now our major focus here is what? The hydroxide ion. So the same thing happens to potassium hydroxide. If you break it down, the same thing happens to it. we'll get what our what if you break it down, that is if we ionize or dissolve a solution, you get what the potassium ion alongside with what our hydroxide ion. So don't forget that sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide are some of the examples of what strong alkaline. Please don't mix this up. Now let's move straight away to what to weak alkaline. So from here let's move straight to weak alkaline. Let's move straight away to what to weak alkaline. Now weak alkaline, they dissolve or ionize slightly in solution. We can also say that what they ionize slightly or partially in solution to also produce what the hydroxide ion alongside with what the metallic ion. But please you take note that they don't dissolve completely. They don't dissolve what completely in solution. They dissolve partially in solution or slightly in solution to produce what the hydroxide ion alongside what the metallic ion. Now moving on from here, we'll also be talking about some of the examples of what of the weak alkaline. Now some of the examples of weak alkaline, we have calcium hydroxide, which happens to be what C A open bracket OH close bracket over 2. Now CaOH to calcium hydroxide, name is what calcium hydroxide, which is what calcium hydroxide, calcium what hydroxide. So this is the name of this compound, calcium hydroxide. Now another example of alkaline that we have, also have aqueous ammonia. So another example of weak alkaline that we have aqueous ammonia, which have a formula of what NH3.H2O. This is also a weak alkaline, aqueous ammonia. Aqueous ammonia. So this is also an example of what of weak alkaline. Please don't mix the two of them up. Sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide are example of what strong alkaline. Then under the weak alkaline we have calcium hydroxide, also known as this lime. We also have what aqueous ammonia. So these are what some of the example of what of weak alkaline. Please we should take note of this. Now let's talk about some of the properties of alkaline. One of the major properties of alkaline is that alkaline has bitter taste, unlike the acid that has what sour taste. Don't mix the two of them up. Acid has sour taste while alkaline has what bitter taste. Please take note of this. Then other properties of alkaline again is that alkaline turns red litmus paper blue. Red litmus paper blue. Alkaline turns red litmus paper to what? To blue. It is acid that turns blue litmus paper red. Don't mix the two of them up together. So another properties of alkaline again is that it turns what? Red litmus paper blue. So please you should take note of all these areas that I've mentioned that I've brought out. Please, like I said earlier on, if you find this class very interesting, I want you to what? To subscribe to my YouTube channel and also follow my Facebook page at Brainwave Online Chemistry Tutorials. So let's continue. So how can I explain all this all? Now let's move straight away to what? To acidity. Now let's move straight away to what? To acidity. Now acidity is the number of replaceable hydroxide ion in one molecule of an alkaline. Please take note of this. Like I said earlier on, I said that acidity refers to the number of what? Replaceable hydroxide ion in one molecule of an alkaline. In my previous video, when I was explaining basicity, I said that basicity is the number of replaceable hydrogen ion in one molecule of an acid. Now, basicity is talking about acid. Now, acidity is talking about alkaline. So don't mix the two of them up. Basicity goes with acid, while what? Acidity goes with alkaline. So we have what? Acid. We have acid, and basicity, while we have alkali, where we have alkalis, and acidity. So we have what? Alkali and acidity. Please don't mix it all of them. Acidity and basicity, they are acid and basicity, they are going together. While alkalis and acidity, they are also what? Going together. Now, basicity is talking about hydrogen ion in one molecule of an acid, while acidity is talking about the number of replaceable hydroxide ion in one molecule of an alkaline. So now acidity is talking about the number of replaceable hydroxide ion in one molecule of what? Of an alkaline rather. Now from here, we'll be breaking some alkaline. Then we'll be seeing their number of what acidity. Now from here, we'll be starting with calcium hydroxide, which is what? An example of a weak alkaline. So we'll be making use of what? Calcium hydroxide. Calcium what? Hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide. Now if you break calcium hydroxide, you're going to get Ca2 plus as the metallic ion plus 2OH minus as the hydroxide ion. Now these 2 years was the 2 year that was the subscript that was here. That's the 2 year. Please take note of that. Now if you look at this very well, you see that the number of hydroxide ion here is what? Is 2. And now acidity is talking about what? The number of replaceable hydroxide ion in one molecule of what? Of an alkaline. I don't know if you guys are getting me right now. Now, what acidity is talking about is the number of what? Hydroxide ion in an alkaline. That's what acidity is talking about. Now, since this hydroxide ion since the number of hydroxide ion here is 2. Now, if you want to call it, you call it what? We'll say that this alkaline here is what? Diacidic. Di means 2. So we'll call it what? Diacidic. Diacidic. Why is it diacidic? Now, calcium hydroxide is diacidic because what? The number of hydroxide ion is 2. Please don't forget that mono is 1, di is 2. For this of us that don't have idea of this, please take note that mono is 1, di is 2, tri is 3, tetra is 4, penta is what? 5, hexa is 6, hepta is 7, octa is 8, nona is 9, while deca is what? Is 10. Please take note of this. Now, the number of hydroxide ion here is 2. So we call it what? Diacidic. Now let's take another alkali, for example, like sodium hydroxide, which is what? NaOH. NaOH. Now, if you break this one, then you're going to get what? A metallic ion, which is Na plus OH minus. Now, if you look at it now, if you look at it very well now, you see that what? The hydroxide ion here is what? Is 1. The hydroxide ion here is what? Is 1. Now, and acidity is talking about what? The number of what? Hydroxide ion in one molecule of what? Of an alkali. Now, since the hydroxide ion here is 1, since the what? Hydroxide ion here is 1. Now, what's the acidity? What's the acidity of what? This sodium hydroxide. Now, the acidity of sodium hydroxide here, since the hydroxide ion is 1, is what? Monoacidic. We call it what? Monoacidic. Now, please take note that sodium hydroxide is what? Monoacidic. Reason because the hydroxide ion is what? Is 1. Assuming the hydroxide ion was 2, like in the case of calcium hydroxide, we call it what? Diacidic. Please, we should take note of all these aspects I'm bringing at. This is where jam question usually come from what? Alkali stroke acidity. In my previous video, I also talked about what? Acid and basicity. If you have not watched that video, I want you guys to watch that video so that you get the full gist on what? On acid and basicity that I taught before. So with this, we have come to the end of this class. Like I said earlier on, if you are watching my video for the very first time, follow my Facebook page at what? Brainwave Online Chemistry Tutorial, and also what? Subscribe to my YouTube channel at what? Brainwave Online Chemistry Tutorials. So thank you guys for watching.